haven't been totally counted out yet. The heart of the order shut down. 2 hits for John Olerud. Robin Ventura hitless. And the heart and soul of this team, Mike Piazza, is struggling. He's battered and bruised, and he is feeling the pressure. The legacy the Braves will leave in the decade of the 90s is pitching, and this series is no different. From Maddox to Millwood to the winner in last night's game, Tommy Glavine. The starters have been nearly untouchable, and when there's been a hint of trouble, John Rocker has provided the answer. Tonight, the man with the most postseason wins in history takes the mound in an attempt to lead the Braves back to the World Series. Shea Stadium in New York on another beautiful evening. Welcome back. Major League Baseball's National League Championship Series here in Flushing, New York, in the borough of Queens. For these fans and for all of us, the question is this the end of this Mets season? Because a victory here tonight by the Atlanta Braves, and these fans will see their last Mets game. The Atlanta Braves with John Smoltz on the mound, and the New York Mets throwing Rick Reed in Game 4 with the Atlanta Braves having a chance to wrap this up. Welcome, everybody around the world. Delighted to have you with us. I'm Gary Thorne along with Ken Singleton. And for the New York Mets, this may be their last game. This is finally one of those situations where you win or you go home.
Yeah, win or go home. Last night, the Mets had a chance to get back into the series. His ability to change the way he's been pitching this year.
He's had to do it, but it sure hasn't had any impact on his numbers. The postseason mark, the most wins ever with 12. He's gone from overhand to three-quarter delivery.
There's really no way to describe the amount of pain I pitched with, the changes, and there has been, aches and pains that I've dealt with. I'm used to those. Everybody has them, and I'm just trying to deal with the best that I have that day. And I decided one day to try to see if I could take pressure off my elbow, and it has worked so far.
John Smoltz will make the start tonight for Atlanta. For the New York Mets, perhaps their pitcher who is most like Tommy Glavine goes tonight.
Yeah, he changes speeds very well. We're talking about Rick Reed, who's one of the better pitchers.
Rick Reed will try. Last 4 starts, he's given up just 8 earned runs in 27 innings. The Mets 17-9 record in the starts he made. He had a big win against the Pittsburgh Pirates a couple of weeks ago that put him into the postseason. Reed remembered that game.
That was pitching against Pittsburgh, and I think it was the 9th inning. I got a double play ground ball, and then got 2 quick strikes on the next guy. And, well, they just come up, and I had to back off the mound. I got a little pumped up with them, but they can get you pumped up a little bit.
Kenny, they're going to try and do, the Mets are, what nobody has ever done, and that's come back from a 3-0 deficit.
Yeah, they're in a deep hole. There's no problem with the Atlanta Braves side of it. They're up 3-0. They got their best pitcher in the postseason on the mound tonight. But the Mets, they got to come out fighting, show some thunder in front of their home crowd.
So, can they do it is the question. The Atlanta Braves want to get it over right here and wrap it up. But as the Mets say, it ain't over till it's over. But they got to put the W up tonight. When we come back, Game 4. Beautiful evening for baseball here in New York. Over 56,000 total on hand here last night. An announced paid crowd of over 55,900 last night. And could not ask for a nicer evening for baseball than what they have here. But for these Met fans and the players, they know that it either gets done tonight or this 1999 season will be over. And that's exactly what the Atlanta Braves want to see happen here tonight.
Well, the Braves would want to wrap it up as quickly as possible, get to Atlanta, have that extra day or 2 off, and get ready for the World Series, whether it's the Yankees or the Boston Red Sox that they would meet. But for the Mets side, they would at least, for pride, want to win at least 1 game here and put something up on the board. Nobody wants to be swept in a series. It just asked the San Diego Padres in last year's World Series. They were swept by the Yankees. Bobby Valentine and his coaches, of course, they got to be upbeat, but they know they're in a deep, deep hole.
First appearance for the Mets in the postseason since '88, and it may end in a hurry here in the National League Championship Series. The Atlanta Braves helped along with a couple of changes that were made this season with the injuries that they had, particularly this man, Brian Jordan, who came over from the St. Louis Cardinals, signed as a free agent, and Brian Jordan put up first half numbers that kept the Atlanta Braves in first place. But he came from an opponent, like many in the National League, who had some specific ideas about what the Atlanta Braves were as a team. Kenny Singleton caught up with Brian Jordan.
What was your impression when you first walked in the Braves clubhouse in spring training? Did you sense that you were with a good team?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of confidence in the clubhouse. And, you know, outside looking in last year, when you played against the Atlanta Braves, you looked at those guys as arrogant, conceited. But, you know, now I'm playing against them. It's just a confident feeling. I mean, a confidence that you're going to win every time you get out there on the field, no matter what happens. And we've been faced with a lot of obstacles this year, but we overcame a lot. And guys have stuck together, and we had that attitude that we were going to still win. You know, although people were counting the Braves out with all the injuries, you know, we found a way.
Speaking of injuries, you have not been, you've been injured too. I mean, tell us a little bit about your hand and what's going on with it, and you've been able to play through it.
Yeah, it all started when I got hit in June. Got the pitcher's name from Montreal, but if I see him, I know the face. But, you know, it started then. You know, I'm an aggressive player, so I'm diving around all the time, and things just started getting worse and worse. And late August is when I was really playing in a lot of pain, and it was really affecting my swing and affecting me mentally. I mean, I was on a very...
Kenny, you know, when he talks about pain, he's talking about pain, because this guy played in the National Football League, and there's some pain involved in that game, so it hurt.
It certainly did, but he did make the right decision finally when he decided to play baseball. It can be a more lengthy, pain-free career, although when you get hit by a pitch like he did in the wrist or hand area, it can be quite painful and almost ruined a very, very good season. He still drove in 115 runs and hit over 20 home runs. He might have done even better.
He had 17 homers and 71 RBIs in the pre-All-Star game section of the year, and then with the injury after the All-Star game, 6 home runs and 44 RBIs. He hit just .218 in the month of September, but that's when Chipper Jones took over offensively. So Jordan carried the ball club for the first half, and Chipper Jones came on and carried it second half of the season, and now both of them healthy and playing here in the postseason with a chance to move on to the World Series if they can get a win here tonight. It is interesting, Ken, that the New York Mets, as we mentioned, will try and do something nobody's ever done before. In 7-game series in the postseason, there have been 23 previous such series, and in those 23 best of 7, a team taking a 3-game-to-none lead has never lost that series. So no team has come back from 3 games behind in a 7-game series. Former Met who was here in the 1986 World Championship team, catcher Gary Carter, with his son on hand here to throw out the first pitch in tonight's game.
Gary Carter, whose nickname was the Kid, and he had that kid-like enthusiasm every time he stepped on a ball field.
Mets hoping that some of the magic that got the New York Mets that World Series win in '86 will rub off on this Mets team here tonight, as they are going to need some magic and a miracle, in fact, if they're going to come back from a 3-0 deficit.
As the umpire for tonight's game.
Fans came in here tonight a whole lot quieter than they were when they entered the ballpark last night. This crowd will be with the Mets, but until the Mets do something in this ball game, they're going to be more of a sit-back crowd tonight.
Well, they haven't seen much offensively from the Mets, and you were right when you said the Braves really haven't blistered the ball either. It's just that the Braves pitching has been that much tougher than the Mets, and the Mets' mistakes. Now remember, the Mets were the best fielding team in the history of the game this year. They only made 68 total errors during the course of 163 games. They have made 5 in 3 games in this series, and they've really hurt,
including the unearned run that cost them the ball game last night. They do not, the Mets fans do not want to see this Atlanta Braves ball club wrap up a National League pennant here in New York. When we come back, game 4. Series off here at Shea Stadium as the Mets got here by beating the Arizona Diamondbacks 3-1. Now, in order to move on, have got to win 4 straight. There's the man they will rely on to get that first W, Rick Reed, making his way in from the bullpen where he had been throwing his warm-up tosses. This game delayed a bit in its start by about 10 minutes or more because the Boston Red Sox were playing New York, and for television purposes in the United States, they did not want to start this game until that game in Boston was over. And what had been described as the greatest pitching matchup in history ended up being a 13-1 Boston win. There you see 18 Celsius, 66 degrees Fahrenheit, and the wind very mild here tonight, 6 kilometers in from center. The forecast, slightly overcast skies tonight, but really a great night for baseball.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why this game was started later, because the Red Sox would not stop scoring against the Yankees. It's 13-1. You know, I thought they had them when it was about 6 or 7-0.
They poured it on. They might wish they had saved some of those runs. We'll have some highlights from that one coming up a little bit later on with Boston's 13-1 win over the Yankees. Pedro Martinez getting the win. Here's Rick Reed. Take a look at our MasterCard starting lineup for the Atlanta Braves. Gerald Williams leads it off. Brett Boone batting second. Chipper Jones third. Brian Jordan in the cleanup spot. Ryan Klesko's back in tonight at first base. Andrew Jones in center field, followed by Eddie Perez, who's having a great postseason. Walt Weiss will be batting eighth, and John Smoltz pitching and batting ninth.
The defense behind Rick Reed. It's going to be Robin Ventura, Ray Ordonez, Edgardo Alfonso, and John Olerud in the infield. Ricky Henderson, Darrell Hamilton, and Roger Cedeno from left to right in the outfield, and Mike Piazza will be doing the catching for Rick Reed in this game 4. Here's a look at Mike Piazza, and of course, Met fans very worried about Mike Piazza, who's all beaten up to say the least, but his throwing has not been good. He's had a couple of errors in this series, including the big one last night that allowed the run to score, the only run of the ball game.
Talking to Bobby Cox before the game, Kenny, you and I, it's clear he wants his team to continue to be aggressive on the base paths against Piazza and the Mets.
Well, it's up to Rick Reed to hold the runners a little bit more closely, give Mike Piazza at least a decent chance to throw somebody out. But you can bet if the Braves get on early in this game, they will be running to try and keep the pressure on the Mets defense. Numbers on Rick Reed, 11-5. 4.58 ERA in the day of a lot of scoring. 4.5 is not all that bad. He's 3-2 lifetime against the Atlanta Braves. He made 2 starts against them this year. He beat them in Atlanta on June 25th as the Mets won 10-2. He worked 6 1/3 innings in that game. He started in Atlanta on September 21st and got a no decision. It was a tighter ball game. The Braves won it by a score of 2-1. The Mets only beat the Braves 3 times this year. Rick Reed has one of those wins.
The umpires working tonight's game. Ed Rapuano has the plate. Jerry Lane, Jerry Crawford, Ed Montague, Jeff Kellogg, and Charlie Relaford, the umpiring crew tonight. We are ready to go. Game 4, and Gerald Williams will step in. He's been their leadoff batter throughout, starting in left field, 3 for 12 in this series. Rick Reed, the right-hander. First pitch popped up, shallow right field towards that corner. Cedeno, who's fast, is not going to get there. Long run as the Cedeno, the right fielder, was playing Williams around towards center field. He's fast, but even that was too far away for any of them. All 3 Mets got there.
See Olerud trying to make this catch over his shoulder. I wonder if the umpire down the line, Charlie Relaford, got in his way. He had to go the great circle route to try and get there, and the ball bounces into the stands. There might have been a flag on that play.
Interference. Wrong game, though. Another one. This one to Cedeno in right. And Reed, in a hurry, gets the first out.
You will notice the difference in the pitchers tonight, the pitching style of Rick Reed as opposed to Al Leiter, who pitched last night for the Mets. Al Leiter is more of a power pitcher who'll throw the ball by some hitters, get them to swing and miss. Rick Reed wouldn't mind the ball being hit. He just doesn't want it to be hit well. And he'll use a lot fewer pitchers because he has a lot better control.
Brett Boone up with one down. Rick Reed has already done something that the other Met starters in the previous 3 games didn't do. Williams, in all of the games in this series, had started out in the first inning on base. And of course, he scored the only run last night, the unearned run, the only game this year in which the Mets have made 2 errors in the same game was last night. Leiter, Piazza were the 2 who committed the errors, 2 in the same inning rather, and that resulted in the only run of the game in the first. Brett Boone the 0-2, and he got him.
The third baseman, Chipper Jones.
Here's a look at the breaking ball. Good curveball. Nice little snap on it. Piazza holds it. I don't know if Brett Boone got a piece of it. He might have as he checks to see what happened to the ball, but Piazza held on to it. And you can guess who's at the plate.
Here's Chipper Jones. He really took it last night and again tonight. His given name is Larry. Nickname is Chipper. He doesn't like Larry, and the Mets, that's all the Met fans said last night. They're doing it again tonight. Towards second base, Edgardo Alfonzo. Well, Rick Reed has set the stage. 7 pitches. He retires the Braves in order in the first inning and ignites the crowd. Of the 1999 National League Championship Series is being brought to you by MasterCard. Shea Stadium, some fans still making their way in. Again, there'll be another crowd close to 56,000 at Shea Stadium in Flushing, Queens, New York. Those are the people coming off the subway. Those are the folks already in. Game 4 here at Shea Stadium. John Smoltz, 32-year-old right-hander, 11-8 on the year. Ricky Henderson inside and high. Only 1 for 10, and the Mets need to get the leadoff base stealer on. Left field, Williams is there, and Henderson is retired.
The first baseman, John Olerud.
Let's take a look at our MasterCard starting lineup for the New York Mets. Ricky Henderson leading it off. John Olerud second. Edgardo Alfonzo third again. Piazza will be batting cleanup. Robin Ventura fifth. Darrell Hamilton back in sixth. Cedeno seventh. Ray Ordonez eighth, and Rick Reed hitting ninth. So Smoltz retires the first batter faced, and John Olerud for the second game in a row will be batting in the number 2 spot rather than his normal 3-hole in the lineup. Fights that one off. Saw the 2 for 11 he's had.
Yeah, I think what Bobby Valentine's trying to do is trying to shake the Mets lineup up a little bit by having Olerud bat second. Dropping Alfonso has been one of the better hitters for the Mets in this series down in the 3rd spot, a place where if Olerud can get on, maybe he can drive him in. Just trying to do something to get some offense going.
It is amazing that these Met bats have been held as quiet as they have been when you have 300 hitters in the lineup, like Edgardo Alfonzo and John Olerud and Robin Ventura and Mike Piazza. Ventura in particular has been really cold at the plate. 0-2 count on John Olerud. John Smoltz missed inside with that. 1 ball, 2 strike count.
They give the fans an example of the Mets bats during the regular season. They have 6 players in the lineup tonight that hit over 300 during the regular season. The second best hitting team in the National League. In this series, they only have 2 hitters hitting over 200 against the Atlanta Braves.
That is really unbelievable.
Yep.
John Olerud, 7 for 30 lifetime off John Smoltz, right-hander with a 2-2 delivery. Olerud towards short. Walt Weiss gets the perfect hop. 2 down.
The second baseman, Edgardo Alfonzo.
Time to check out the defense for the Atlanta Braves. It's going to be Chipper Jones, Walt Weiss, Brett Boone, and Ryan Klesko in the infield. The outfield from left to right, it's Williams, Jones, and Jordan. They can really go get him. Eddie Perez will be doing the catching for John Smoltz. We have Ryan Klesko highlighted. He started game 1, but with 2 left-handers going for the Mets in game 2 and 3, Ryan Klesko was on the bench. He's back out there tonight.
Ryan Hunter goes to the bench. Edgardo Alfonso, strike 1. Alfonso, League Championship Series, has gone 4 for 12. But he had an 0 in last night's game, including 3 strikeouts in that game. Edgardo Alfonso pops that one up center field. Andruw Jones moving in. Smoltz is already walking off, and that's why. So these 2 pitchers have started out hot. 10 pitches thrown by Smoltz to retire the side in order. Took Reed only 7.
Impact your week with Lee Friday Fury.
It'll swing back over the inside corner for a strike. Here's the setup by Piazza, and watch the swing as Klesko cannot get extended because the pitch is on the inside. See how tight he has his hands to his body. He can't get the good extension for a power stroke.
1-2 delivery, not away from him, but he pulls it foul. Ryan Klesko, like most power hitters, wants to get his arms out over the plate, wants to be able to extend and drive the baseball, preferably pull the ball to right field for a left-handed hitter. And when he does, he can hit it. 1-2 count, 1 away, bases empty. And that'll be another foul ball.
Rick Reed is doing a good job against Klesko and moving the ball around. Couple inside, couple away, then back in. He's kind of keeping Klesko guessing because each time he's thrown a pitch, he's been around each corner. So you get one towards the middle, that's when a hitter can do some real business. And Klesko fouled another one off.
1-2 again, breaking ball. Just inside. Did he go? They check at third. No. And Montague, third base umpire, on the check swing, said he didn't go around.
Well, we'll make the call ourselves. Ed Montague is correct. Umpires are looking for that bat to come around and go beyond home plate. You can see how Klesko put the brakes on it.
2-2 by Reed, and he got him. Two strikeouts for Rick Reed. That one coming on an 8-pitch at bat.
Now remember the check swing prior to this pitch. It was down. This pitch is up. So he goes from all the way down near the dirt all the way back upstairs. The hitter's eyes are trained to follow ball in a certain area. When you've seen one, then you come back with another one in a different area. It's tough to get to it. Good pitching by Rick Reed.
That's how Rick Reed has to work. Andruw Jones up. He is not an overpowering pitcher and does not get a lot of strikeouts usually. He has to move the ball around, in, out, up, down. 1-0 delivery. Towering pop up at the plate. Piazza, mask off. So Rick Reed has retired the first 6 batters faced. Piazza, tough play for a catcher. You turn around and the ball's almost directly to Ventura, and Hamilton coming up against John Smoltz in a scoreless game 4. John Smoltz, another one of those who'd won the Cy Young on this staff, 96 Cy Young Award winner, and suffering through the elbow problems this year. Still finished 11-8. Opponents hit only .245 off him, which was the 8th best batting average against in the National League, the 8th lowest. Mike Piazza just 2 for 11 in this series. And he's not done much against Smoltz either. Hung on to on the foul tip. 0-2 in a hurry.
Yeah, he's chasing some bad pitches up and out of the strike zone. And you know, I would think with John Smoltz getting him to swing at those first 2 that were balls, this next one's not going to be a strike either.
Career .234 off Smoltz, with a lot of at-bats against him. Has had a couple of home runs off the Braves right-hander. Piazza's just so banged up from the season. A lot of bruises when you're catching at the major league level. And did he go? They check it first. No, he didn't.
Now with the check swing, usually the catcher will ask the umpire at the home plate if it's any doubt whether he swung the bat or not, and I think he did. He was out of there. But they appeal it first. You see Eddie Perez asking the first base umpire. That would be Jerry Lane, and Jerry Lane said no, he didn't swing.
And he did. Smoltz got him to reach. Andrew Jones called off on the play by Gerald Williams.
The third baseman.
So Piazza retired, one away.
Well, John Smoltz working Mike Piazza upstairs with the fastball. First pitch, swings right through it. Same location, right through it again, 0-2. Slider, he wouldn't chase it. Check, he went around, and then an off-speed pitch, and he popped it up for the out.
So Piazza retired. One away. Robin Ventura, 0-1 count on him. Fouls that back into the screen. Struggle for all of these Met hitters continuing the first time around so far. Robin Ventura's had an 0 for 9 against the Braves in this series and just 3 for 23 in the postseason. Nowhere near the numbers he put up in the regular season when Robin Ventura hit .301 with 32 home runs. And a 1-ball 2-strike count. There are the numbers during the regular season. And for the first time in a vital situation last night, Robin Ventura was pinch hit for. That did not happen all year unless it was a blowout game or he was hurt or something. 2-2 delivery by John Smoltz, and another pop-up third base. Chipper Jones. And there are 2 down.
The center fielder.
Well, you mentioned the fact that John Smoltz had a lot of problems with his elbow this year, but he went down to the bullpen, started to throw more 3/4 than over the top, and kind of dropping down, and his elbow didn't hurt. So Leo Mazzoni said, do you think, the pitching coach asked him, do you think you can pitch that way? Now look at 1997, almost directly over the top, and now this year you can see the difference in the arm angles.
It's made him a whole new pitcher. The hitters said enough already. We couldn't hit him when he was throwing that way in 97 over the top. Now that he's dropped down, we can't hit him either.
And the ball has more movement on it, so he's found a new way to pitch. You know, he was talking about the other day, if he had continued to experience the arm problems, he was thinking about retiring. Because he didn't want to have any more surgery.
Leo Mazzoni celebrating his 51st birthday today, the pitching coach of Atlanta. Darrell Hamilton back in the lineup, takes it up high. 1-ball 2-strike count from Smoltz. There's Leo. I asked him today, I said, look, you had this great staff throughout the 90s. What are the rules of the road here? He said, I got 2 rules of the road. The only things I want to know to help my pitchers against the hitters, what fastball can you get by a hitter? And what bad pitches will they swing at like that? That's all I need to know. You tell me that. If I can tell my pitchers that, they'll go out and win. Well, John Smoltz and company doing just that. Smoltz gets the strikeout, still scoreless at Shea Stadium. It's going to the 3rd inning. You're still trying to make the major leagues. You should log on to MajorLeagueBaseball.com. This site gives you video highlights and live game audio. Play online fantasy video games and purchase the latest clothing at the official store. That's MajorLeagueBaseball.com, and we invite you to email us here at the game. We'd love to hear from you at MajorLeagueBaseball.com. We're sorry we haven't been able to get any of the emails on. Probably going to have to wait till the World Series, but we are collecting them. So for those of you who have done so, we'll get to them. Rick Reed goes to work here on Eddie Perez. Of all the people in either lineup, here's the hitter. 6 for 10, 2 homers, 3 RBIs in this league championship series. Breaking ball to short. Ray Ordonez. How about the Wizard? Ozzie Smith's been here covering this game.
Walt Weiss.
Looked at Ray Ordonez in the first games of this series and said, Ray is the best defensive instincts of any young shortstop I have ever seen as far as getting to balls and plays that nobody else can make. That's what's important. The great plays take care of themselves. He also makes the routine ones. Ozzie said they're always trying to compare shortstops to me. I have never found one yet who I would say yes until I saw Ray Ordonez play. Pretty hefty words from the wizard at short for the Cardinals for all those years. Walt Weiss fouls that one back, and quickly an 0-2 count.
It's hard to get into the Hall of Fame for just your glove work, but if somebody does, although Ozzie became a better offensive player later on in his career, but if somebody gets in the Hall of Fame for his glove work, there's the man right there. Ozzie Smith, all those years the leader of the St. Louis Cardinals infield.
And a fine breaking ball, foul tipped and held on to by Piazza. 2 down.
The pitcher, John Smoltz.
Well, Rick Reed has picked up 3 strikeouts in the game, 1 in each inning so far, and 2 of them have been on the breaking ball. It's a good one. Players have several names for curveballs. They call it the yellow hammer, Uncle Charlie, the jug handle, you know, the
Yacker.
Yep. And Piazza catches the foul tip and holds on to it. The yacker, yeah, that's a good one too.
These 2 pitchers are mowing them down. 14 up and 14 down in this game, and in a hurry.
Look at that batting average for John Smoltz.
Number 1 in the Braves staff, and in the National League, one of the best hitting pitchers, Ray Ordonez. So Rick Reed has gone through the first 9, not allowing an Atlanta Brave to reach, and took only 7 pitches to set him down there. Well, the pitchers dominating so far here. No score. It wasn't so in Boston today. Striking them out. And the Red Sox went on to win that game 13-1. Clemens came out of the game early. Martinez came out late after the Red Sox were well up. In the American League Championship Series, the Yankees now lead the Red Sox 2-1. John Smoltz to Roger Cedeno in a 2-0 count.
And just like so many times before, when they build up a matchup as being the classic matchup, something just blows up.
Gotta love this game for doing that.
Oh,
don't
yeah,
you?
Exactly, because you don't know what you're going to see when you come out here. You can see Chipper Jones in at third base, guarding against the speed and the bunting ability of Roger Cedeno.
3-0 count. Cedeno in and out of the lineup all year with the Mets, in right field and center. He played center until Darrell Hamilton was acquired later in the year, then moved to right field, and then Ian Agbayani in large part platoon there. Smoltz comes in. Smoltz is not going to walk many. 1.9 walks per 9 innings, 5th best ratio in the National League. 3-1, and he comes right back to get it to 3-2.
Seems to me, Gary, after watching John Smoltz, I didn't see much of him this year. He's got a more compact delivery. I mean, it takes a lot less strain on his arm.
Very fluid, very smooth, huh?
It's amazing that he could make that major adjustment, continue to throw strikes.
Cedeno, gap in left center. That's a base hit. Williams will hold him to a single, and there's the first hit of the game.
The shortstop, Ray Ordonez.
So Cedeno's on, and will Bobby Valentine play this aggressively and start running in a hurry?
Well, he's got the right man on base to try and get some offense generated. There's the base hit that'll get Roger Cedeno to first base. Now, here's a guy who was second in the league in stolen bases with 66. So if you're thinking about going that route, you got the right man out there.
Tony Womack won the title in the National League with 72 stolen bases. Cedeno second, and Smoltz over in a hurry. Against John Smoltz this season, base stealers were 9 for 16. Ray Ordonez up. Nobody out. Smoltz with a hard throw over.
You know, one of the things that fans might not think about, and Mookie Wilson over there coaching at first base, a player in his day was one of the best base stealers in baseball. So a lot of good advice for somebody like Roger Cedeno when he gets on.
He started to go, didn't go. Klesko will go to the bag and get the sure out. But that will move Cedeno down to second base. One away.
The pitcher, Rick Reed.
Ray Ordonez, first out.
Because this ball was hit so slowly, maybe some indecision for Klesko. Cedeno thinking about going now with the ball on the ground. He does go. Klesko thought he had gone. That's why he went over and stepped on first base. He might have had a shot to throw to second and get the fours.
One down. Rick Reed, the pitcher. Oh, mercy. Off the home plate umpire, Ed Rapuano, and Perez turns around and asks him, are you all right? Flush off the mask.
Well, you've heard of those candies, those hard candies, jawbreakers. That's the baseball version of a jawbreaker right there.
Off-speed pitch fouled off. 2-strike count on Reed. Reed's a decent hitting pitcher. Hit 244. Couple of doubles. 5 RBIs during the regular season.
Anytime you have a pitcher over 200, he's a pretty good hitting pitcher.
Runner at second base. Grounded to short. And did he get him? No. Throw to first. Weiss gets the out. Walt Weiss almost turned a double play right there. Cedeno had to dive in underneath Weiss's tag because he almost went to third.
The only reason Cedeno is safe at second is because the avoiding dive. Now watch, he thought about going to third, now trying to get back. He's in there safely. Weiss does not get him, then throws on the first for the out, number 2. So Roger Cedeno thought about going to third, so now I better go back, and makes it.
Rule is if you're a runner at second and the ball is hit in front of you towards third, you do not go. If it's hit behind you, probably you'll go. That time, though, Walt Weiss was so close to him that if Weiss comes up with the ball and Cedeno goes to third, he's got no chance. Weiss would have thrown him out at third base.
Yeah, Weiss was playing up the middle with the pitcher hitting. He didn't think that Reed would be able to pull the ball. And you can see it's the same setup for Ricky Henderson. He doesn't think Ricky's going to be able to pull the ball either.
0-1 delivery to Henderson, and he wasn't even close on that. Henderson flying out his first time up, 2 down. Smoltz is working in a hurry. Met hitters are going to have to start stepping out against John Smoltz because he has a rapid rate going right now, and he's throwing all strikes. No score in the third inning. Just missed on that one.
You know, one thing you see from Ricky Henderson's 40 years old now, and as we all get older, we slow down a little bit.
No.
And one thing that happens is you can't swing the bat as quickly. Your reactions are not quite as quick. That's why you see hitters, they retire much earlier age than Ricky Henderson.
You saying you slowed down as you got older?
Well, I knew I should quit because I was fouling balls off that I used to hit, and I told myself it's not the pitchers, it's me. I can't get the bat out there quickly enough. So I said, I'll come upstairs and talk about it.
There you go.
Yeah.
And isn't it much easier up here to talk about it? 2-ball, 2-strike count on Ricky Henderson. Henderson, the runner at second base, goes down swinging. Boy, the Mets are not even close here to Smoltz. The Mets now scoreless in the last 13 innings of this series. Leave a runner stranded at second base. Zip, zip. Tomorrow, our coverage, Major League Baseball International, brings you Game 5 if the Mets win. It'll be at 4 o'clock Eastern, 8 Greenwich Mean Time. Greg Maddux and Masato Yoshii, the scheduled starters for Game 5. But to get there, the Mets must win this ball game. There is Masato Yoshii, twisted his ankle in that last game pitched in Atlanta. But today, Bobby Valentine said he is well enough to go in his scheduled start tomorrow. So he waits to see if there will be another start this season. Gerald Williams, fine postseason. The only Brave to get a ball out of the infield so far, and that's a foul ball. Flied out his first time up.
First time in this ball game that Rick Reed has made a mistake with his breaking ball, and Gerald Williams scalded it. But for Rick Reed and the Mets, they were fortunate it went foul.
One of the reasons he's so successful, Kenny, he retires 74% of leadoff hitters in a ball game.
And when you get that first guy out, especially one with the speed of Gerald Williams, you can see how that breaking ball was kind of right there.
1-2 count on Williams.
mean, major league hitters, if you throw a ball in the middle of the plate, that's why they're major league hitters. They're going to hit it hard.
Great control showing up there by Reed. 33-year-old Williams puts another ball in the outfield. Chased down by Darrell Hamilton.
The second baseman.
One away.
Brett Boone.
Reed throws a ton of strikes. Here at home he went 3-2. He had only 5 decisions here at Shea Stadium. He was 8-3 on the road. But he had a much better ERA here at Shea Stadium. 3.86 compared to 5.14 on the road. Big difference. Breaking ball right through the wickets and a base hit for Brett Boone. Boone came up ready to go, and there's the first hit for the Braves.
Remember the breaking ball that Gerald Williams pulled foul? There was one that was kind of in the middle of the plate. Brett Boone gets one in the same area, but he doesn't miss it. Right through the 5-hole. That's a hockey term. And a base hit. I did that for you, Gary.
Thank you very much. Appreciate any hockey reference we can get. And the fans again on Chipper Jones. 10 in a row had been retired by Reed before Boone picked up that single. Boone is not a base stealer, but Bobby Cox has been playing very aggressive baseball in this series. Chipper Jones up. Could see a hit and run here. 1-0 count.
We talked about how well Chipper Jones did against the New York Mets in the regular season as he checks the signs from third base coach Ned Yost. There were only 2 players who kind of outdid Chipper Jones against one team. And they were 2 big-name players. Mark McGwire hit .452 against San Diego with 8 home runs and 16 RBIs. Imagine, they just couldn't get him out. And Ken Griffey Jr., .457 against the Kansas City Royals with 7 homers and 18 runs batted in. I mean, they just did what they wanted to against those pitching staff.
And Chipper Jones did that against the Mets. Hit and run on. Throw down Piazza. Boone. Out!
Well, Mike Piazza makes a statement finally. First Brave he has thrown out attempting to steal in this series. You mentioned Boone, not really a base stealer. There's the throw right there. Watch the quick tag by Ordonez, and Boone is out. Let's watch it one more time. Yeah, he got him, and he is gone. And an ovation for Mike Piazza.
And the strikeout by Reed. So Piazza gets one after they'd stolen 5 out of 6 successfully in the series. Against Piazza in this series.
Well, let's go back to game 1 in Atlanta. Throw in the dirt, nowhere near in time. Another Brave trying to steal in there. Another throw in the dirt. Game 3 here last night. The double steal in the first inning that set up the first run and the poor throw for an error. And then here, Mike Piazza tonight answered by throwing out Brett Boone. And we're going to take a look at Boone taking off for second base. Pitch was up and out over the plate. Pretty easy pitch to throw on. Just step into it and throw it. Piazza did a good job.
2-0 count on John Olerud. Now can they get the bats going? Threw out 24%, well below the major league average for catchers. That's not a good percentage. You need to be up about 31, 32% just to be in the average. 2-0 count. Olerud, left field. Williams. Well, they continue to struggle. In the middle of this order, the big hitters not getting on. Where can you find the game's greatest players and today's rising stars together on one super show? It's on Baseball Max. Each week you get all the great baseball action in a program that has all the bases covered. So keep your eye on the Baseball Max. Check the local listings in your country for airtime. Edgardo Alfonso. My adding is right here now between Olerud, Piazza, Ventura. They are 4 for 36 in this series combined. Edgardo Alfonso takes it down low, 1-1. Alfonso flied out his first time up. He's now 4 for 13 in this series, with Piazza waiting on deck. Check swing. Did he go? Yes. Wow. Home plate umpire Ed Rapuano didn't even want to go down and ask Jerry Lane about that check swing. He was reluctant to do it, but the rules say he has to if the catcher asks.
There's a check, and you know what? I don't think he swung at it. But he's got one way and one the other. Neither one of them were right.
2-ball, 2-strike count. That's a sore spot with umpires. There you see the numbers versus Smoltz. Rule that was instituted not that many years ago, actually. Foul tipped and held on to it. Smoltz has blown him away. 3 Ks. If there's a check swing and the catcher asks the home plate umpire to check on it, the home plate umpire is obliged to do so. Even under that rule, sometimes the umpires won't do it. They just won't ask. That time he didn't want to. The Piazza wouldn't take the point finger down, or rather Perez wouldn't, and so he finally had to. Piazza's up.
Talking about Piazza's throwing and the fact that threw out only 24% of the runners who attempted to steal this year. Over in the American League, to give an example on the other end of the spectrum, Pudge Rodriguez, who a lot of people feel is going to be the MVP of the American League. Nobody knows if it isn't Pedro Martinez. But Pudge Rodriguez threw out 53% of the runners who attempted to steal, and at one time had more stolen bases himself than he had allowed during the season.
And that is just a phenomenal
and I
number.
mean, it was well into the season, past the All-Star break.
Amazing. Piazza stepping out on Smoltz to try and slow him down. 2 down, nobody on. Piazza flied out his first time up. No score. Each team's had only 1 hit. We're in the 4th inning. Mets have got to win to extend this series. If Atlanta wins it, they will move on to the World Series. John Smoltz, 0-1 this year against the Mets, 9-8 lifetime against New York. Fastball foul back, 1-2. Leo Mazzoni talking with him before the game. Not only has Smoltz dropped down and changed that pitching delivery, he's also throwing a knuckleball. Leo Mazzoni said Smoltz in previous years had fooled around with it in the bullpen and on the sideline, but this year is actually throwing it 3 or 4 times per game. He will throw a knuckleball, and before this year he never did in a ball game. 1-2 delivered. Foul back again.
You know, that will almost be, you know, the hitters will claim it's not fair. If he comes up with a knuckleball to go along with this arsenal. And imagine if his elbow starts to feel better and he can throw from on top, then from the side, and then add a knuckleball. He'll pitch till he's 80 years old.
All right, now he's pitching like his 21 inning. That's 4 strikeouts as Smoltz and Rick Reed are locked up in the pitching duel that was supposed to exist in Boston today between Clemens and Martinez. Maybe the Rockets watching to see what was supposed to have happened there. Away here as the Atlanta Braves and the Mets in game 4 scoreless. Each team's had only 1 hit. A single by Boone in the 4th inning for the Atlanta Braves, and Roger Cedeno led off the 3rd with a single and was stranded at second base. He's the only player to get to second base tonight. Neither pitcher has walked a batter, and each has struck out 4. Rick Reed, Brian Jordan to right field. Cedeno will drift under.
Notice how Rick Reed's getting a lot of Brave hitters out on that first pitch. That only helps him later on in the ball game when he needs a little bit extra in the tank. In 3 of the 4 innings, to give you an example of how he's been very economical with his pitches, speaking of Reed, he's thrown fewer than 10 pitches. That's about as good as it gets for a control pitcher.
So you got to come up swinging when a guy's doing that. Ryan Klesko takes it up high. 1 down, nobody on. Klesko looking for his first hit in this series, 0 for 9. Dave Wallace, the pitching coach of the New York Mets has made a huge difference on this staff. Wallace is recognized as one of the best pitching coaches in the game. Was with the Los Angeles Dodgers last year, came over to the Mets this year, came over in a front office situation. He was the assistant pitching coach and was working as an assistant to the GM. And then the Mets had that big firing of 3 of their coaches midway through the season. Bobby Valentine's own people got fired by the GM, and Wallace was moved up to the pitching coach. Breaking ball off the fist. Edgardo Alfonzo, and Klesko is out.
Yeah, Gary, most teams on their coaching staff, they will have a pitching coach. They will have a bullpen coach that helps him out. Well, Dave Wallace made sure that Al Jackson, who is now works out in the bullpen, is his assistant pitching coach. He's not the bullpen coach, which really the two work together very well.
And the pitchers work well with all of them. Andrew Jones.
It was Al Jackson to help Rick Reed with the grip of his breaking ball early in the season and just throwing a better curve.
And we are just flying here in this ball game. This is a typical Major League, National League game where 2 pitchers are dominating. 1-0 pitch. Reed got it in. Robin Ventura picks it up. Another inning gone. Kenny was talking about how Reed's throwing under 10 pitches per inning. 6 pitches in that inning to retire the Braves in order. There are the bats for both of these teams. That question goes on. 1 hit for each club so far. Maybe he can find them somewhere in the camera range, but they sure haven't been on this ballpark or in Atlanta in this series so far.
Yeah, each pitcher has 4 strikeouts and has not given up a walk in just 1 hit.
Robin Ventura, postseason 3 for 24, but 0 for 10 in this series, and an 0-1 count on Ventura. John Smoltz, the winningest pitcher in postseason history, putting on another show. Interesting that one of the reasons he's been so successful in the postseason, the club's Atlanta has scored a lot of runs for him. Only 3 pitchers have had a higher average run support in the postseason than has John Smoltz. Braves have averaged 5 runs a game for him. David Wells, Charles Nagy, and Bert Hooton, the only ones who've had more than that. Tonight, neither pitcher so far has had 1 iota of run support. 1-2 delivery. Second base, Boone. He got him. So the delivery changeup, instead of coming over the top, 3/4 delivery by John Smoltz has not affected his effectiveness. And Leo Mazzoni, the pitching coach, worked with him to get there. Said, does it feel good pitching down there? He said yes. Mazzoni said, go ahead.
He came down for a normal side session to throw and get ready for his next start, and he said, see, Leo, he said, when I throw from down here, my elbow doesn't hurt. And I said, you mean to tell me your elbow doesn't hurt from there, yet it's killing you up top? And he said, yeah. I said, well, start cranking it from down there and let's see what we got. Well, here come a nasty sinker and a slider and a cutter and a change, and I said, John, you mean you can throw like this from down there and it doesn't hurt? And he said, yeah. I said, well, let's go for it.
Unbelievable how a pitcher who is pitching one way all his life makes a major adjustment, and the rocker Leo Mazzoni on the bench says go for it, and he turns into another big-time pitcher. I mean, he might extend his career by another 15 years.
And as Leo pointed out, that's really amazing. He says anyone can drop their arm down. Can you be effective is the question.
And control the ball.
Yeah. Outside corner strike to Darrell Hamilton, 2-2. Now John Smoltz will on occasion go back on top. He'll throw a few pitches every game in which he delivers right over the top overhand. Just another way keep hitters guessing. Strike 3 in the inside corner. Tagged out by Perez. Hamilton did not like either of the last 2 calls, and look out, he's coming back to argue with Ed Rapuano. When an umpire takes his mask off, you're in dangerous territory as a player.
Well, what he wants to know, and he's asking him, how wide is this plate? What am I dealing with up here? Well, the first pitch, the previous pitch was over the outside corner, tailing fastball back to the inside, and there's the call, strike 3. It did have the corner, But Darrell Hamilton doesn't believe it. Right there on the corner, Eddie Perez didn't have to move the glove.
And Hamilton unhappy with it. 5th strikeout victim of John Smoltz. Smoltz had as many as 9 strikeouts in a game this year. He is really rocking along here in this one.
He's got a rhythm going where it's just about the same amount of time between each pitch. That's when a pitch is really going good. Unless you get a foul ball. When he gets the ball back from the catcher after delivering a pitch and he's really moving along, you can almost count in rhythm like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds between each pitch.
That's when hitters have to start stepping out.
Oh, yep. Get the pitcher out of his rhythm.
1-1 count. Cedeno. Outside of third base, Chipper Jones, his own dugout. And that one's in the photographer's box. Fans want him to throw it back into the seats, and he does.
He better be careful. They'll throw it back at him.
Now the fans want those fans to throw the ball back out. The fans are booing the fan for keeping the ball. Strike count. Maybe it was a Braves fan. I'm not throwing that ball back. Go away, people. I'm keeping it. The fans are chanting, throw it back. 3-ball, 2-strike count. Only the second 3-ball count in this game by either pitcher. Both have been to Cedeno. Here's the 3-2 delivery. Fouled off again.
And consequently, Cedeno's the only Met with a base hit. He was ahead 3 balls and 1 strike, leading off the 3rd inning, but got as far as 2nd, and that was it.
Roger Cedeno. 3-2 delivery to him. To 3rd. Oh, a hop into left field, base hit. Bad hop right off the lip of the grass, and Cedeno. Both hits off Smoltz belong to him.
It looked like Chipper Jones is about ready to corral this ground ball, and all of a sudden it's up and over his head and on into left field. And you can see him trying to smooth out the dirt area around third base. And this is the reason why. Ground ball off the bat. Cedeno has good speed, so he's out of the box quickly. Right there, it hits the lip of the grass, as Gary called it, and up over. Chipper Jones in the left field for the hit.
Ooh, close at first base. Cedeno with a pretty good sized lead.
You would think he might be trying to steal here. Even if he's thrown out, it means that Ray Ordonez would lead off next inning instead of the pitcher, Rick Reed. There he is getting back, and watch him dive for the far end of the bag as far away as he can get from the tag.
2 down, no score. In the 5th, a pitch out, but he's not going.
Sometimes after a pitch out, a good base stealer will take off, not expecting the opposition to pitch out twice in a row. But with the danger for the Mets here is that John Smoltz has excellent control, and they might not be afraid to fall behind Ray Ordonez 2 balls and no strikes.
And he gets back to the bag. He's got that lead about as far as he can go because he's having to dive back in on those throws.
And that will tell the Braves that he's really thinking about stealing. It's the difficulty in getting back to the bag on the throws to first that indicate a runner might be going.
There he goes. And Ordonez was swinging away. Right field. Brian Jordan. That's it. Well, Ray Ordonez probably should have taken a pitch to let Roger Cedeno have a chance to steal. He didn't. Inning over. Runner left on. Mets haven't scored in the last 50.
Battle of the Champions.
Creed, 11-5 during the season. On the DL, elbow problems. 32-year-old right-hander John Smoltz, 11-8 on the DL, elbow problems during the past year.
Rick Reed has thrown only 45 pitches in 5 innings and gone to a 2-ball count on only 2 batters. That is just mowing them down.
These two have got a real duel going on here. One base runner has been to second base. That was Cedeno for the Mets in the 3rd inning. Only one hit for the Braves. That was a single by Boone, and he was thrown out trying to steal. So Rick Reed has faced the minimum number of batters through the first 5 innings of this game. Perez, Weiss, Smoltz due up. 6th inning. Must-win game for the Mets to continue this series. Perez grounded out his first time up, 6 for 11 now in this series. He's faced Reed only 3 times, 0 for 3 against him. Atlanta catcher breaking ball to third, Robin Ventura. You know these pitches are on because even the outs aren't being hit hard.
Walt Weiss.
Crowd just kind of settled back watching the pitching going on here at Shea Stadium. Another sellout crowd here tonight of some 56,000.
Well, they've been watching pitching throughout this series in Atlanta, and now it continues here at Shea Stadium.
His team batting averages, incredibly, are still going down. Here's Walt Weiss showing bunt, takes it away for a ball.
Yeah, both teams are hitting combined 190, and now it's gone lower than that. So that it's tough to score runs when you're not hitting.
Mets hit 277 during the regular season as a team. Came in hitting 182 in this series. 2-0 count. Walt Weiss fouls it back. Weiss, one of the few left in the game who chokes up on the bat. He's not a power hitter at all. He and Ray Ordonez, 2 of the worst slugging percentages in the game.
You can see how the outfielders play very shallow for Weiss. They don't expect him to hit the ball deep to the outfield.
And he obliges by hitting it very shallow. Alfonso. 2 down.
The pitcher, John Smoltz.
Pitchers are mowing him down almost at will.
You got to figure that you know, which one of these guys is going to blink first. So, you know, throw one in somebody's wheelhouse. Hitters start thinking about maybe one swing of the bat's going to do it, and they might be right.
John Smoltz with 2 down, nobody on. Outfield will continue to play very shallow. Smoltz takes the fastball from Reed for a strike. 2 pitching coaches. Neither could ask for more. Mazzoni of Atlanta on the left. Dave Wallace on the right of the Mets. Breaking ball misses down low. 1 ball, 1 strike. The National League is noted as being a pitching-oriented league. That has become less so in recent years, but nevertheless still more than the American. Roger Cedeno. Through 6 innings tonight, Rick Reed has faced the minimum number of batters, 3 in each inning, and it remains 0-0. Shea Stadium in New York. 99 National League Championship Game 4. No score. Mets in a must-win. Smoltz and Reed getting it done. Venezuela on hand. Delavine broadcasting here at Shea Stadium tonight. And we welcome all of you who are joining us around the world. Major League Baseball International bringing you this Game 4 from New York. It's been a doozy. Here's Rick Reed. Leading it off, grounded out, top of the order. Henderson on deck. John Smoltz in. Smoltz hasn't walked anybody and has struck out 5.
Now we understand that our good friend Dean Yuan in Taiwan is doing the game tonight, and we'll see him during the World Series. We just don't know quite who's going to be there yet, and we'll get you a ticket to the right city, Dean.
Broken back bloop, Brett Boone. Neither pitcher has allowed the leadoff man on in this game in 6 innings.
Ricky Henderson.
And these outs are pitiful.
I mean, here's a broken bat pop-up. You'd expect that from a pitcher, but you're right. I mean, John Smoltz has struck out 5, hasn't really been a ball hit hard.
Ricky Henderson is trying to slow Smoltz down and give Reed a chance to get back to the dugout as he comes very slowly to the plate.
That comes from 21 years of experience of being a leadoff hitter.
0 for 2 in this one. 1 hit in the series. 1 for 12. And he has been way behind on John Smoltz's fastball.
It looks like he's having trouble picking up the delivery, and that new 3/4 delivery from John Smoltz.
And he pops it up. Klesko at first. Just like that, 2 down in the 6th. Henderson retired.
After swinging and missing the first one, John Smoltz comes back with the same pitch. And Ricky pops out weakly to first base.
In this series, first 5 for the Mets, 9 hits. Braves with Weiss and Perez, 10 at the bottom of the order. Mets are now hitting 170. 170 combined. Atlanta's hitting an enormous 200. John Olerud takes it away, 1-1. Olerud moved into the number 2 spot in the ballgame last night. 2 hits now and 13 at bats in this series with the 0 for 2. The odds of the cleanup hitters 0 for 2. Drill! Deep right field! Way back! Goodbye! Home run! Mets 1-0.
Talking about the fact that if you're going to hit 170, you better hit with some power to get some runs. And John Olerud jumps on a 3/4 delivery. Now, one of the dangers for a pitcher throwing 3/4 to a left-handed hitter, a right-handed pitcher, gets to see the ball a little bit longer. And Olerud really went out and got that one. Maybe the worst pitch that John Smoltz has made tonight. There was no doubt about it that the ball was hit.
New York Mets, their second home run of this series. Mora has the other. Smoltz gave up 14 home runs during the regular season, and Olerud knew it. And the Mets on their 3rd hit take a 1-0 lead, his 4th career postseason home run. Oh, there's one of those big cuts the Mets have been waiting for out of this lineup. Edgardo Alfonzo. That is the first run the Mets have scored since the 8th inning of Game 2.
We were talking about which would be the first pitcher to blink. It was John Smoltz.
0-2 delivery is outside. 1-0 ball game. Will it be enough? It was last night. I got a feeling it's not going to be in this game. Smoltz, a 1-2 delivery. Foul back. Stays 1-2 in Alfonzo. Rick Reed's got a run to work with for the Mets.
I've been involved in games in the past, and you know, the fans might remember the year that Ron Guidry of the Yankees had in 1978 when he won 25 games, lost only 3. And one of those games that he lost was to the Baltimore Orioles. And he gave up a home run in the 7th inning to Doug DeCinces, my teammate, who put us in the lead by 1 run. He stepped into the dugout and said to our starting pitcher, Mike Flanagan, you better hold him because we're not going to get any more. And Flanagan did, and we won 3-2.
Well, if anybody can do that on this Mets team, it's Rick Reed.
Yeah, so he's got to have that same feeling that might be the only run I'm going to get because I'm in there against John Smoltz, so I better hold him. 3-2.
Smoltz comes right back and gets his 6th strikeout of the game. But the New York Mets, with the bat of John Olerud, have taken the 1-0 lead. John Smoltz mowing him down for the Atlanta Braves with 6 strikeouts in the game. And then the New York Mets showing their own mow him down man. 4 Ks, no walks for Rick Reed. But all you got to do is make one mistake, and Smoltz did to John Olerud. And Olerud drove it. 3rd hit for the Mets. The home run, his 4th career postseason. 1-0 New York.
Well, Olerud, of course, had been in the postseason with the Toronto Blue Jays in the early 90s. Back-to-back World Championship teams up there. In fact, won a batting title with the Jays.
Now the Braves will try and find some bats here. They have only 1 hit. Rick Reed throwing a 1-hitter. Gerald Williams line up twice. 1 ball, 1 strike count. The 1-0 game played here last night is the 36th 1-0 game in postseason history. The run the Braves got was unearned. It is only the 5th time in those 36 one-run games that you had an unearned run decide the affair.
And you know what was tough about it? He came in the 1st inning and nothing happened after that from the Mets standpoint. They couldn't score.
Breaking ball tapped to 3rd. Robin Ventura.
The second baseman, Brett Boone.
Rick Reed has the Braves down to 8 outs.
He is pitching the game of his life right now, but not done. Just that 1 run up on the board. Boone has the only hit off Reed, a single. Came in the 4th inning. He was caught trying to steal, so Reed has faced the minimum number of hitters you can face to this point in the game. 0-1 to Boone is up high, 1-1.
And Brett Boone has the highest lifetime average of any Brave against Rick Reed, so he's had some success in the past. He started out tonight at .364 against him.
Foul ball and a 1 ball 2 strike count. Pitch is taken outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Boone. Every play matters so much for the Mets in this game, and you got to win. You got a 1-run lead. No room for a mistake. Grounded up the middle. Ray Ordonez is there. Two down.
Rick Reed is well aware of that. You can see the concentration on his face prior to every pitch. He wants to put the ball exactly where he wants to. He's been doing an excellent job all night. See him draw the hand back. You try and keep your bare hand away from a ground ball if you're a pitcher. And Ray Ordonez makes the play behind it. Just that, look at the concentration on his face. He has Chipper Jones at the plate now, a difficult hitter.
2 down, Chipper Jones. His bat quiet. Only 4 hits this postseason, all singles. Only 1 RBI. 1-0 count. One and one. Rick Reed in his last outing in a must-win for the Mets against Pittsburgh threw a 3-hitter, shutting out Pittsburgh 7-0. He's coming back in this game, shutting out the Atlanta Braves on 1 hit. That 3-hitter was his best performance of the year. Reed, who has only 1 complete game, and that was it. 2-1 away. He just lost that one. That slipped. 3-1. He turns away in disgust. He's disgusted, and it's his first 3-ball count of the game.
Yeah, but he's got to be careful on this next pitch. 3-1 on Chipper Jones. He still can't catch too much of the play because Chipper Jones is looking for a pitch he can tie the game on.
And immediately you saw Dave Wallace go to the bullpen phone. They have seen something there that indicates Reed is tiring. 3-1, 3-2.
Looked like a good sinking fastball, and Chipper Jones is over the top. You know what he's thinking? Tying the game with one swing. Didn't work.
3-2 pitch. Struck him out. Rick Reed has 5 strikeouts, has given up 1 hit, and through 7 innings has faced the minimum number of Atlanta batters. 7th inning stretch time at Shea Stadium, New York. Gary Thorne, Ken Singleton are our crew with game 4 that the Mets must win. And right now they are leading it by a score of 1-0. John Smoltz will go back to work. Hasn't been a walk in this game. Bottom of the 7th inning, Mike Piazza. And up high for a ball. 0 for 2 in this, 2 for 13 in the series. 1-0 delivery by Smoltz to him, ripped right through the fastball.
It's that same pitch, that fastball up in the zone about bell time, maybe a little higher, and Piazza swings right through it. So you can see what Smoltz is trying to do. He's trying to elevate the fastball. See the target by Eddie Perez, not down low around the knees. Piazza's a good low ball hitter. He'll drop that bat straight down and lift the ball right out of the ballpark.
Held on to on the foul tip. Perez is amazing at that. That's one of the hardest things catchers do. 1 is block balls, and 2 is hang on to foul tips. It's very tough to do. He handles them regularly, and Smoltz gets him looking. 7 strikeouts for John Smoltz.
Third baseman.
In Boston, in what was supposed to be a pitching duel like this, it was all Pedro Martinez. Throwing heat, throwing breaking balls, throwing change-ups. Yankees could not touch him. As Boston won it 13-1, Roger Clemens came out early in that game as he got in trouble with the second batter up in the ball game. Game 4 will be played tomorrow. Major League Baseball International will have coverage for you. Brian Klesko on the Ventura grounder. Smoltz gets over. 2 down.
The center fielder, Darrell Hamilton.
Game 4, the American League Championship Series. Red Sox trailing in that now 2-1. Tomorrow 7:30 Eastern, 11:30 Greenwich Mean Time. And if the New York Mets can win this ball game, we will be back here at 4 o'clock Eastern, 8 Greenwich Mean Time for Game 5. Mets must win for that to happen. Reed and Smoltz pitching as fine a game, both of them, as you'd want to see. Darrell Hamilton and Adam Ball. Williams is there, and that's that. 7 pitches is all it took for John Smoltz to retire the Mets. We've now completed 7. Reed will go back to work as the John Olerud home run, the only one up on the board so far for New York. It's been enough. Here's an unusual situation. That is Rickey Henderson, who's being taken out of the game after he had already gone out to left field. A defensive replacement, Melvin Moore, is coming on, and Rickey doesn't like this at all.
You know, it looks like he can't believe it. Who sent you out here? You know, and I really agree with Rickey, because the fact is, a manager should let him know before he even goes out on the field. It's kind of embarrassing to be taken out in front of 56,000 people. You know, you should have thought of that last inning if you're going to make the change.
See if he talks to anybody. No.
He's going right. He's not happy about that.
Bobby Valentine, the manager, came over to try and make amends, but that's a no-no. So Henderson is out and Moore is in left. First ball hitting Brian Jordan, deep center field. Way back. of these bleacher stands, and Jordan has tied the game at 1.
Gary, last night we were talking about the fact that it's not a bad thing to have your power hitters up leading off an inning when you're down by a run or a game is tied, because the pitcher is more apt to throw a fat pitch to hit because he doesn't want to walk you. And Brian Jordan jumped on the first thing he saw this inning and rode it out of the ballpark in left center field.
1-1 on just the second hit for the Atlanta Braves. Now here's Ryan Klesko. Kenny, we just got through saying, you and I looked at each other between innings and said, this is Rick Reed's big inning.
You can see the ball over the fence for the home run off the front of the bleachers.
And that's going to go way back in right field. 2 swings of the bat. 2-1 Atlanta. Back-to-back home runs for the Atlanta Braves. 2 home runs on 3 Rick Reed pitches.
Andrew Jones.
Now, what a turn of events in such a short period of time. Rick Reed was kind of sailing along, and we had talked about the fact that Jordan, Klesko, and Andrew Jones, good power hitters, and Mets bullpen trying to get ready in a hurry here. They're going to try and stall. Mike Piazza out on the mound talking to Rick Reed. You can see the reaction of Klesko as the ball goes over the wall in right.
Both Jordan and Klesko had each picked up 1 career home run, and John Smoltz celebrating. He now has a 2-1 lead in this game. They each had a home run off Rick Reed. Both of them have one in this inning. Reed, who gave up 23 homers during the regular season, as stunned as anyone here.
Well, you mentioned these were going to be 3 tough hitters with Andrew Jones following Jordan and Klesko. But if he got through this inning, then he had the bottom third of the Braves order to work 2 in the ninth, and it would probably been the closer. Maybe Benitez facing them.
Dennis Cook and Turk Wendell trying to get ready in a hurry. The Mets are stalling for time to give their bullpen a chance to do that. Ed Rapuano, the home plate umpire, will come out and see if they're going to make a change. So the Atlanta Braves, who can wrap up the National League pennant with a victory in this game, now have a 2-1 lead.
Now, sometimes when a pitcher gives up that initial home run, a manager or pitching coach will go out and talk to him and say, look, you know, we're not losing. The game is tied. But what happens is the pitcher will lose his concentration, and the danger is there to serve up another home run. And I think that's what happened in this case.
Rick Reed will leave 7 innings plus 2 runs, 3 hits. He didn't walk a batter and struck out 5. Three pitches thrown in the 8th inning, and 2 of them left the ballpark. Back here at Shea, Turk Wendell out of the bullpen as Rick Reed. A tremendous line usually, but 2 home runs. Jordan's 3rd of the postseason, and Klesko's 1st. And he leaves trailing incredibly 2-1. Turk Wendell's delivery hit by Andrew Jones to right field. Cedeno. That is the first out of the 8th inning.
The catcher, Eddie Perez.
Brian Jordan, first pitch here in the 8th inning. And Darrell Hamilton cannot get it. It is gone for a home run. Hit off the facing of the bleachers. Then Ryan Klesko. Remember, we told you he has one thing on his mind when he goes up there to swing. And there's a reaction of the Atlanta Braves, who realize now they're only a few outs away from meeting somebody in the World Series.
Eddie Perez takes it outside for a ball.
And both of them sitting right next to the hitting coach,
saying thanks. 3rd time Braves postseason. 2 home runs, same inning, foul back by Perez. Braves have out-homered the Mets 5-2 in this series. And some stunned fans at Shea Stadium. Atlanta Braves last 2 years, just dominating the Mets. Wendell, Ventura got a chance here. The bad wheels of Eddie Perez. Robin Ventura got the out. Better that Turk Wendell did not touch that ball.
You know, if he had touched it, it would have knocked it offline, and Ventura wouldn't have been able to make the play. And the key was, as Gary said, Eddie Perez with that bad left knee has trouble running. Went right underneath Turk Wendell. And look at his reaction. Now he's happy now because Ventura had his back and made the play.
2 down, bases empty here in the 8th. Wendell on for the second game of this series has given up a run on a hit in 2 2/3 innings to the Braves in this series. Walt Weiss takes the strike. Smoltz on deck here. Weiss would like to get on. Smoltz would not have to lead off the next inning. Blew that one by him. 0-2. That's what happened to Reed. 0-2 delivery towards second base. Edgardo Alfonso. But the Atlanta Braves do the damage. Brian Jordan. Next batter, Ryan Klesko. Both out of the yard. 2-1 Atlanta. Now they sit and hope, Met fans. Mets must win or this series is over and the Braves go to the World Series. 2-1 lead, bottom of the 8th inning. John Smoltz. Roger Cedeno takes it outside for a ball. Cedeno's done the damage with 2 of the 3 hits. Ryan Hunter's on at first for Klesko.
When Galarraga's playing first for the Braves and they hope he will be back next year, there will be no need for defensive replacements. Well, the best fielding first baseman in the history of the game.
Hunter waiting while Eddie Perez fixes the equipment behind the plate. Long ball working for the Atlanta Braves. Cedeno twice has shown bodies trying to get on any way he can. He was taking till he got a strike. 1-1.
This is an important inning for John Smoltz. If he can get the Mets in order, you know, somehow if he won't be pitching the next inning because you got to figure that John Rocker will be in the game. But from the Braves standpoint, Bobby Cox, who has managed more postseason games than any other manager in history, you got to figure they want to avoid seeing Mike Piazza if they can.
Wants a 1-2-3 inning here to help out that cause.
And then a 1-2-3 if they can get it done in the ninth. Then Piazza would not hit.
John Rocker, right-hander. Mike Remlinger, left-hander, warming up. Bobby Cox has won more postseason games than anyone. And a base hit again. Three at-bats, 3 singles.
Well, the Mets have 4 hits in the game, and Roger Cedeno has 3 of them. They haven't found a way to get him out. But, of course, he represents great speed on the bases. He's been the only man who's really solved John Smoltz with multiple hits, and that ball is tagged right through the middle for the base hit.
Ray Ordonez scheduled up. Was not going to hit. This would indicate Matt Franco had been ready to hit, and Bobby Bonilla as well. Bobby Valentine, this may mean he wants a bunt here.
Well, the feeling is the Mets got to get this game tied one way or another and move Cedeno into scoring position. And certainly Ordonez is a better bunter than either Franco or Bonilla, who will be saved for their swinging ability.
Ordonez 11 sacrifices during the regular season. 2-1. Atlanta leading in the 8th. Cedeno being held by Hunter. Ordonez squares and pumped it up. Foul territory. Hunter made the catch.
Well, we talked about the way the Mex have not been executing. Remember, Ordonez popped up to Hunter in game 2, and he cannot get the punt down. There it is, and there was no chance on that one, just straight up in the air. Now look at Hunter charging from first base, expecting to bunt on the ground. He gets a bonus. It's up in the air and an easy catch for an out. No advance by the runner.
And Bobby Cox is on his way out. That is going to be it for John Smoltz. Matt Franco announced as the pinch hitter. Smoltz did it. Everything they wanted out of John Smoltz, they got. Gives up the 1 run on 4 hits, responsible for the base runner on, and leaves with a chance to win yet another postseason game. Opportunity to put away another win in the postseason. 12 postseason wins, the most ever.
And here's his quote: "I love pitching at this time of year. I'm not afraid to fail. I always pitch at this time of year knowing that I'm going to win." And if he wins tonight, it'll be his 13th postseason win, more than any other pitcher in history.
Pinch hitting for the man. Number 50.
Whoa! They might need him later on. And it's amazing what we talked about. Neither team really hitting for average. So to score some runs, you're going to need to hit some homers. And all 3 runs in this game have been the result of solo home runs.
A great line. No walks, 7 strikeouts. Too shy of his high this season in Ks. Leaves with a chance to win it. Now Benny Agbayani is announced as the pinch hitter for the pinch hitter Matt Franco. Matt Franco can't get an at-bat here in this series. Every time the Mets try and get him in, and he's their best pinch hitter, Bobby Cox makes the change, brings on the left-hander, and then Bobby Valentine has to bring on somebody else.
Yeah, Matt Franco might have been the best pinch hitter in the league this year. He had some big hits, beat the Yankees here at Shea Stadium in the 9th inning with a hit off of none other than Mariano Rivera.
Benny Agbayani with a runner at first. 2-0 count.
You have a runner at first base, and Roger Cedeno is 2nd leading base stealer in the league. Well, the count 2-0 on Agbayani, I don't think he's going to go because this is a good hitting count.
3 for 20 as a pinch hitter during the season for Agbayani. Met pinch hitters in this series are 1 for 7. Todd Pratt, one of those. Backup catcher on the bench. Mike Remlinger, 10-1 record. His best season as a major leaguer. Agbayani fouls it back 2-1.
It's interesting. We were talking about Remlinger after the game last night when he was with the Mets. Couldn't get people out. Now he goes with the Atlanta Braves, and all of a sudden his career does a complete turnaround. And he's 10-1 out of the bullpen with great numbers to back it up. Few walks and a lot of strikeouts.
Learn by watching your fellow teammates. Remlinger on for the 3rd game in this series. Benny Agbayani 2-2. Remlinger has worked an inning and 2/3 and given up nothing. Walking 1, striking out 1. 33-year-old veteran pitcher filling in a bullpen, hurt by injuries. Smoltz hoping he can hang on to a 2-1 Atlanta lead. We're in the 8th. 2-2 count on Benny Agbayani. Cedeno at first. Agbayani is out of there and a pitch off the plate. 2 down.
The left fielder, Melvin Mora.
Gary called it out of the strike zone, and Agbayani actually swung at a couple of pitches out of the zone. You can't be too anxious in clutch situations. He's thinking about a homer, but a base hit would have put Cedeno into scoring position. You got to think I got to walk before I can run here. You know, you can't look for the whole ball of wax. If the pitch comes up there to be hit out of the park, a normal swing will get it out.
2 down. This will be Mora's first at bat. Mora has delivered one of the long balls for the Mets in this series. He's not a home run hitter. Bobby Cox the signs to Eddie Perez on whether or not he wants throws over to first base. 2 down. Cedeno with the lead. Remlinger was asked to throw over.
Quick flashback to game 2, and it's the home run off Kevin Millwood. Remember that Mora came in the game after Ricky Henderson became ill. So he didn't actually start the game and hit his first Major League home run. Then last night, great throw to the plate in the first inning while the Braves had already scored the run that they needed.
Runner goes, throw down, off the mark, stolen base, Cedeno. And the Mets get the potential tying run to second base.
Well, you had to figure he was going somewhere along the line. Cedeno with the type of speed. One thing about bringing left-handers into the ballgame for Bobby Cox, it also enables them to hold the runner more closely. Not in this case. Cedeno gets the good jump. On the first movement, he's gone. Tough pitch for Eddie Perez to throw him out on. You can see the sail throw way off. The throw sail way off line.
First stolen base of this series for the Mets. 2-0 count on Mora. Mike Remlinger got it in. Down the line and foul. A must-win game for the Mets, trying to get it at least evened up here in the 8th inning, while Bobby Cox trying to win it.
Mora going the other way. He had a couple of hits here last night. He's had 3 hits and 6 at-bats in this championship series. He's been probably the Mets' most effective hitter. And you can see the Mets looking for anything. Now that ball's going to twist foul.
Remlinger with a 2-1 delivery. 3-1. Well, already, Kenny, what we talked about has not happened for the Braves. They did not get through this inning 1-2-3, so the meat of the Mets order is going to get an at-bat either here or the next inning. John Olerud, the number 2 hitter, waiting on deck. Mora went 2 for 17 against left-handers during the regular season with a big club. And he draws a walk. The first walk of this game.
The first baseman, John Olerud.
Bobby Cox will make a change.
Well, he's seen what his ace left-hander out of the bullpen has done to John Olerud on a couple occasions. And right now he's informing umpire Ed Rapuano of his, he wants to make a double switch. So he can put the new pitcher where he wants in the batting order.
And the fans will boo John Rocker. And somebody threw a baseball at him as he came out of the bullpen. Walt Weiss will also come out of the game in the double switch.
And we better explain the double switch. What's that mean is that with Weiss going out of the game and Bobby Cox bringing 2 new players into the game, he's bringing in the veteran shortstop Ozzie Guillen. Guillen will bat in the 9th spot where Remlinger was. And the pitcher Rocker will bat in Walt Weiss's spot. Weiss made the last out. So Rocker will bat 8th. It'll be 9 more hitters before he comes to the plate again.
There is a part of this, Ken, which is great for baseball with the fans, the New York Met fans on Rocker. There is a part of this, though, that's gone over the line. There were a number of death threats today called in to Shea Stadium regarding John Rocker. The New York City Police Department has had the bomb squad out here with the dogs that sniff for bombs all day. And they are very concerned tonight.
Well, John Rocker so far in this series, and John Olerud's had a lot of problems with him. First time he saw him, 3 pitches, and he puts him away. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Then Robin Ventura, not much more luck. He's called out on strikes. Then in game 2, it's Olerud again who is struck out by Rocker. Ventura goes down swinging. And he is pumped when he comes into a ball game. The bout from the south.
Well, the Mets are not going to go quietly, and they weren't expected to. Rocker on. And the middle of the order coming up. Their closer, brought in a little earlier than Bobby Cox would like to have had it happen in this game.
Well, he did it way back in the first 2 games of this series. Brought Rocker in, then brought Smoltz in to follow him in game 2. And he brought Rocker in the 8th inning in game 1 for the final out of the 8th inning. And the hitter at the plate at the time was John Olerud.
Olerud has not had a hit off Rocker with the 0 for 9. Smoltz waiting. Could still win this game if the Braves can maintain the lead. 2-1, 8th inning. First and second for the Mets with 2 down. John Olerud delivered the home run for the Mets in the 6th inning that put them up for a moment 1-0. The leadoff single by Cedeno. He stole second. And with 2 down, the walk to Mora. Now Olerud with an 0-1 count. Fastball missed inside, 1-1.
And you hear that groan at the end of the pitch. That is Rocker. As he delivers, he's giving it his all.
Rocker appearing in his 10th straight National League Championship game. 6 last year and all 4 in this series. Runners go and no throw. Double steal.
Eddie Perez not taking a chance on throwing the ball and maybe throwing it away. You can see the runners. Daniel, the lead runner, gets a great jump, but it's up to Mora to follow, and Mora does. So the Mets have the go-ahead run now at second base in scoring position.
2-1, fouled off. John Olerud, a .300 hitter with runners in scoring position, which means runners at either end or second or third. During the regular year, he hit .300 in those situations, which is a very good average. It's known as a clutch hitter.
But this is a guy that's been awfully tough on him over the years.
2-ball, 2-strike count with 2 down. A chopper up the middle. Base hit into center field. 2 runs will score. The Mets lead 3-2.
The guy who should get an awful lot of credit this inning is Roger Cedeno. Getting on, stealing 2 bases, pulling Melvin Mora with him on the second. And John Olerud has driven in all 3 runs in this game for the New York Mets.
Edgardo Alfonzo with 2 down. So the Mets have come back with 2 runs in the 8th inning.
Here's a look at it. Ozzie Guillen, and one time had a lot more range than he has now. He's a veteran shortstop, cannot get to it off of his glove, and 2 runs come in to score.
0-1 delivery. One of those runs will be charged to Smoltz. Another will be charged to Remlinger.
And it was the only walk of this game to Melvin Moore. That is the difference.
Remlinger is now the pitcher of record. Smoltz non-decision. 2-strike count on Edgardo Alfonso. And he swings through it. But the Mets trying to extend the series. Pick up 2 big runs on John Olerud's. 2 out. 2 RBI single off Guillen's glove. And the Mets now lead it 3. Major League Baseball International's presentation of the 1999 National League Championship Series is being brought to you by MasterCard. Well, we hope you are enjoying this as much as we are. He's not right now. Rocker giving up that hit to Olerud, and the Mets lead it 3-2 and they go to the 9th. The Mets 3 outs away from extending this to Game 5. Ozzie Guillen against Armando Benitez, the Mets closer. Up high, ball 1.
A couple of subtle little things in the last inning. We mentioned the double steal, very important. Roger Cedeno getting on with a leadoff single. The double switch by Bobby Cox to get his pitcher into a more benevolent place in the batting order, taking out Walt Weiss, who has more range than Ozzie Guillen at this point.
Benitez falls behind Guillen in his first at bat here. Inside corner, 2-1. Benitez has appeared in 2 previous games in this series. Has worked 2 2/3 innings, hasn't given up a hit or a walk, and has struck out 5. Guillen drills it to right field, way back. Oh my! A foul ball. Ozzie Guillen, who won, never hits home runs, and 2, never pulls the ball, almost pulled a homer to right.
Down the line, and look at it twist. Shea Stadium got awfully quiet until this ball landed. About 5 feet foul.
Ozzie Guillen's had a long career. I bet he hasn't had more than 5 balls hit into a right field corner in any ballpark. Here's the 2-2. 3-2.
Seems to save his home runs for big hits, because he did homer in the division clincher in Montreal to give the Braves the win.
And he drills that to right field. Man, that will be caught by Cedeno. One down.
Well, that was well hit too by Guillen.
Gerald Williams.
I was talking to Benitez before the game as we watched Cedeno make this catch on a solid line drive, and he told me that one of the hitters in the Braves lineup that gives him a lot of trouble is at the plate right now. Gerald Williams. He pitches well against the Braves, but he says that Gerald Williams has a very quick bat and he just can't seem to really get the ball by him. We'll see what happens here.
See the 3 for 7 he's had against him, and he gets a towering fly ball to right. Cedeno. This copyrighted telecast, the property of the Office of the Commissioner of Major League Baseball, intended for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Major League Baseball is prohibited. 9th inning, 2 down. Mets lead at 3-2. Keith Lockhart coming to the plate as the pinch hitter for Brett Boone as they get the left-hander up against Armando Benitez. One more out for the Mets, and there will be a Game 5. one.
Lockhart, who had been the Braves' regular second baseman last year until the trade for Brett Boone this year.
One ball, one strike. Mets ready to extend their season as they came up with 2 runs in the 8th inning to regain a 3-2 lead, and they got the big hit, Olerud off Walker. 2 ball, 1 strike count on Keith Lockhart. Benitez does not want Lockhart to get on, nor does Bobby Valentine, because behind him is the power of the order with Chipper Jones on deck.
It's a subtle move by Mike Piazza on that last target. He knew that Benitez was missing outside, so he moved the target inside. Benitez still missed the target, but the ball was over the plate.
Two delivery. Struck him out! There'll be a game 5. With 2 runs in the 8th inning, win this ball game.
There is called strike 3 on Keith Lockhart. The final pitch of the night. Armando Benitez picks up his first save in the National League Championship Series.
Blew him away 1-2-3 in the 9th inning. Rocker, sitting on the right, gave up the 2 RBI single off the glove of Guillen. That resulted in the game-winning RBI scoring. Bobby Valentine's team finally got one against this team that has so dominated them all year.
The player of the game, number 5, John Olerud.
3-5-0 for New York, 2-3-0 for Atlanta. Wendell wins it in relief. Remlinger the loser. Benitez picks up the save.
This is at 4:09. We thank you for attending tonight's game.
This is going to be a Pepsi play of the game, and it's the base hit off the glove of Ozzie Guillen. 2-run score. The Mets are still alive. That's our Pepsi play of the game.
And our priceless moment in this game brought to you by MasterCard. When John Olerud got that hit, Rick Reed, who started this game, came out to celebrate. He couldn't get the win, but he sure held him in. And yes, they can. So we will be back here at Shea Stadium tomorrow for Game 5. Tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time, with the Braves leading in the series 3-1. Hope you'll join us again. Major League Baseball International's coverage also of the American League Championship Series Game 4. The Yankees and the Red Sox tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern, 11:30 Greenwich Mean Time. As the Red Sox won today, the Yankees lead 2-1. Once again, our final here, New York, with a 3-2 win over the Atlanta Braves. And what a game it was, dominated by John Smoltz, the starter. for the Atlanta Braves. Their bats were quiet, but Smoltz was red hot. The home run off Smoltz by John Olerud put the Mets up 1-0 in the 6th inning. Rick Reed battling until Jordan came along in the 8th with a dinger, and right behind him, Ryan Klesko. Back-to-back home runs in the 8th inning, and it looked like Smoltz was going to win, and so were the Braves. But the Mets, who've had a battle back all year, did not get their collective heads down. And John Olerud came through with 2 on in scoring position with a 2 RBI single. He had been 0 for 9 against Rocker before that base hit. And Benitez, the save, retiring the side in order. For Kenny Singleton and all of our crew, this is Gary Thorne in New York.